Hey guys, how's it going? It is I, the real Randy Chavez. I'm coming at you with a Pokemon sales data video. Not too much to go over today, but we do have a couple of things that I would like to expand upon. From Neogenesis, this is the first one. We have a T17, so it's Typhlosion number 17, the one that has better artwork than the 18. It's rarer, it's harder to find. First edition PSA 7 sold for $578, which about makes sense. I think these are due for a bump since the 9s have just gotten a bump. So I would say these would probably be around 700 or 800. They should be, because the 9s are going towards, I think 6,600 was the last one that sold. So if the 9 sells for that, figure the 8 should be probably around $2,000, and then we'll be looking at probably around 1,000 or so maybe in the next couple of months for that T17. Lugia first edition PSA 8 sold for 2,000. That is the lower. I think that's around the lowest that we've seen for an 8 in the last couple months anyway, so that did a bit of a retrace. But we have a Lugia first edition PSA 7 up for auction right now. That's already at $2,000. This 8 did not have a swirl. The 7, I'm not sure, does. But the big one from Neogenesis is a Pikachu. We have a first edition BGS 9.5. BGS 9.5, there are only 6 9.5 copies. There are no gold-plated 10s, there are no black label 10s. Neogenesis is extraordinarily hard to grade, and this is something that you're just not going to get many clean copies of. You have the print line issues, where they have a bunch of print lines running on the holo. You have the centering. You have the red dot error on some of them, especially that T17. But there's also only 24 PSA 10 copies. So there's something there's not a lot of. And the PSA 10, I would say anywhere between 15 and 20,000 next time it sells. The reason why we haven't seen a sale for that recently is because people just don't sell. Like I said before yesterday, when you have these items that are not only worth a lot of money and it increased exponentially, like the trajectory in which it's going is absolutely to the moon, but you also have this nostalgia factor with it. It's a lot different than, like Bitcoin or Tesla. Did it suck for me to sell Tesla? Yes, absolutely. But I don't have an emotional attachment. Like, I don't look at the stock and be like, oh, feels. I look at Blaine's Charizard and I get feels. I look at Erica's Venusaur and I get feels. It just takes me back to a different time. You just don't get that with stocks. You don't get that with Bitcoin. But for a Pikachu, especially one this rare, that's something that would, I think, get 15, 20 grand. Again, BGS 9 sold for 17.25. I looked at it and I was like, oh wow, it's a record price point for that. And then a buddy of mine got it on Instagram. I was like, what? That was you? So shout out to you. I forget who I was talking to. Anyway, Gym Challenge. We have Rockets Mewtwo first edition PSA 8 sold for 315. Blaine's Arcanine first edition PSA 10, a hell of a big increase. I don't know what was wrong with the last PSA 10. Blaine's Arcanine first edition PSA 10 the other day sold for like $2,000. Like, that is stupid undervalued. Whoever got that got a great deal. This one sold for $3,350. I wish I hadn't sold some of mine. Again, I had 6. I have 4 now. I might have to sell 1 just for the. I have 2 months now. 2 months from today to pay off that 20 grand for that Trophy Kangaskhan. There's one company called Rally, where Rally's taken my idea, what I mentioned on E4 a few months ago about being able to go and say, like, hey, we have this card. You guys can buy shares of this card. So they're doing that with, I think they're really undervaluing the price. They said a first edition PSA 10 base set for $250,000. Like, if someone can get that whole thing for $250,000, buy that right now. Because all of the holos that sold at PWCC, and only 14 out of the 16 holos of that, just the holos, minus Poliwrath and minus Clefairy, the sum of those parts sold for over $500,000. That's just for the holos. So that's not even for all of them. So if anyone can get that, Charizard goes for more than $250. So I don't know exactly how they're basing it. I don't think they have a good knowledge of it, because they're a little bit closer with Trophy Kangaskhan. They have a PSA 10 Trophy Kangaskhan. They're valuing at about 170. And if you go based on the last couple sales, 150 and 150.1, yes, that's kind of okay. But the cheapest one on eBay right now is $263,000. So maybe the guy accepts $200,000. I don't think so. And I went over this yesterday. Once I got mine, I was like, I'm not selling it for $250. I'm just not. $300, I don't think I would either. $500,000 I'd probably do, just because I could do other things with that money. But SM Pratt has his on for $500,000. Somebody else has his on for $300,000, and the lowest that you can get is $263,000. So, I mean, some people say I'm crazy, but find the cheaper option. There is none. So moving on past that, we have a Blaine's Charizard First Edition PSA 10. This has dipped below the 9,000, so I was not sure that it was going to dip below 10. It dipped below 10. Now it dipped below 9. It is $8,988. Again, not all 10s are the same, so one could be good, one could be bad. Misty's Golduck First Edition PSA 9 sold for $240. That 10 sold for $4,100, so $240 for a 9 is undervalued in my opinion. Rocket's Mewtwo First Edition PSA 10 sold for $14.50. Koga First Edition PSA 10 sold for $810. All the other trainers, Blaine, Sabrina, Giovanni, are getting like $300-$400. Maybe Koga's just a lot rarer. He's not even as badass. I mean, those are all the Team Rocket ones. I mean, Lieutenant Surge's Team Rocket, but you have, I guess Blaine is kind of iffy because he was part of Team Rocket, helped create Mewtwo, and now he's, he turned good, but it's not like Koga is like the outliers. Like, oh, he's part of Team Rocket. Like no, he is, but so is Sabrina, and so is Giovanni. Giovanni leads Team Rocket. Giovanni's also a child of Viridian. That's something that you just, not a lot of people are that. There's 3 people. You have Lance, you have Yellow, and you have Giovanni. That's what we know in the main canal. So I think that should be a little higher. But again, some of these facts just kind of go over the head. Some people don't know it. They just care about the cards. They don't really care about the history of the characters, which is fine. I think Giovanni's better. Erica's Venusaur First Edition PSA 9 sold for $610. Blaine's Arcanine First Edition PSA 7 sold for $229. So if we do the math here, say $225. So we're looking at about $450 for an 8, and that, I guess $900 for a 9. I mean the 900, the 9 we have seen for sell for over $1,000, but one recently I guess sold for a bit less than that. Sabrina's Alakazam First Edition PSA 9s for $385. We have 2 more Blaine's Charizards, both First Edition, both PSA 9. One sold for $3,200. The other sold for $2,550. That $2,550 was sold 7 minutes ago. Base set. Only have one. We have a Charizard BG First Edition BGS 9.5 PWCC auction. Bit of a retrace. The one a month ago sold for $126,000. This one sold for $104,600. So 104.6. Again, large retraces with that. Here's where I think Beckett overpowers PSA a bit, is when you have those high grades. Again, anything under a 9 with those subgrades is just wild card. You don't know what it is, and it's probably, if they say it's an 8.5, probably like a 7.5. Moving on past that, we have in Rocket set, we have 2 Dark Blastoise, both First Edition PSA 9. One sold for $821. One sold for $841. We have a Dark Charizard PSA 10, $5,850. So it is still going up slightly, $5,000, $5,500, $5,850. And then Dark Dragonite First Edition PSA 10, so for $3,283. Moving on to Neo Destiny, we have a Dark Ampharos First Edition PSA 10, so for $740. Retrace on a Dark Feraligatr First Edition PSA 10. I think one sold for $1,500, mine sold for $1,800, and this sold for $1,225. That one might be one of those things I might have to liquidate, because if I sell it for $1,500, I guess I'll do it. When I told you how to buy it, I got it at like $400. I was like, yeah, undervalued, because it's a Feraligatr, it's a starter, and it's a dark version. It's just cool. Good artwork. Dark Houndoom First Edition PSA 10 sold for $1,350. Shining Charizard First Edition PSA 9 sold for $7,301. Skyridge, only one. We have a Crystal Hollow Celebi PSA 10 sold for $3,550. Gold Star. I'm like that black guy in the yellow suit where he's behind the trees, like, was tongue out. Anyway, we have a Latios PSA 9 sell for $2,707. A Rayquaza PSA 9 sell for $9,300. Those are insane. And then in Gold Star Alakazam PSA 10 sell for $3,650. Last one I want to talk about is Neorev. Neorev, we have one sale. We have a Ho-Oh First Edition PSA 10. Now, there are only 75 PSA 10 copies as per the Pop Report. I just looked it up for the video. And so it sold for $10,000. We don't see that many of those cards sell. Now, that card is about as rare as Erica's Venusaur. I think that has 81 PSA 10 copies. Now you're thinking, okay, well, Venusaur's a starter, and it's Erica's Venusaur, and okay, she has Ivysaur, so eventually she would have that. Now, for Neorev, you're looking at a Ho-Oh, so it's the first appearance of Ho-Oh, a legendary. So it's not just like now granted, it didn't have a movie like Lugia, that's why Lugia gets a premium, although it's very hard to grade Lugia. It's only 41 PSA 10 copies. So this is almost double, and it's getting 1/12 of the price. Why? Because the artwork's there. There is a little bit of a smudged, a little bit of a lower picture because it has 3 attacks. Only the second card to have 3 attacks. The first one is Rocket's Mewtwo. It's a cool card. It's not really that playable, but either way, it's still a record price point. And I think that's the first. I think you're going to have a couple other people. You know what? I have one. They probably got it like several $100s, and they're like, yeah, it's time to cash out. Again, sometimes they don't. Like me, I have 6 Blaine's Charizards. I don't want to sell. I want to pay off this Trophy Kangaskhan without having to sell a Blaine's Charizard. Maybe I should, and I'll just have 5 left. I don't know. I'll keep you guys posted. I love you all. Please comment, like, and subscribe. Comments are good for the YouTube algorithm. Oh, and then I'm also going to do a quick shout out, please. Elijah Horst and Jonathan Corona. I love smashing Coronas. All right, I love you guys. All right, bye.